Welcome to the Out on a Limb podcast. We are all interconnected to a greater web of consciousness. Our aim is to open your mind to a new world through having open-minded discussions about what we perceive our reality to be.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Out on a Limb podcast, where the shenanigans never stop here.
That's right.
At least Samantha's hair is looking good, though, right?
Oh, thank you.
Got it fixed.
It's all in place.
Yeah.
I mean, I think your hair always looks good, but there might always be a piece hanging or
I
something.
don't want to distract our audience.
That's right.
And we're matchy unintentionally. We never talk about wardrobe ahead of time.
No,
Yes.
it's weird.
What was that?
That
Is
was
your
my stomach.
In case you guys couldn't.
Oh my God.
I have no idea. I'm not hungry. It just happened.
Wow, your stomach always makes noises.
It does,
actually.
though.
All right, with that in mind, we're going to talk about movies and television shows that are must-see, the ones that mimic this whole metaphysical realm, the ones that make you think, the dystopian ones.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about all of them.
Meaningful to us.
Yeah.
And if you haven't watched them, you probably should, and we'll tell you why.
Will we?
So-
Okay.
I'm going to start with one of my favorites,
Okay.
The Truman Show.
Ooh,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Yes, The Truman Show. Oh my God, with Ed, whatever his name is, that has the little hat.
Ed Harris.
Ed Harris.
Should I pull out the IMDb so we can get these people's
Right.
names down?
No, they can look it up.
Okay.
Anyway, Ed Harris is basically God.
Mm-hmm.
The metaphors in that movie are amazing.
Yes.
So Truman, basically his whole life is being filmed ever since he was a baby. And so it's a whole set. All of these people are actors. He doesn't know it.
Are you giving away the plot?
Kind of.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Anywho,
Yeah.
you
Watch the
still
movie.
have to watch the whole movie. But
Oh,
anyway,
Jeez.
Ed
It's a good
is
movie.
Ed is the, what is that? The producer, director, whatever
Yeah.
he is.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying that is like,
It's very thought-provoking for sure.
it has stuck with me all these years.
Yeah.
What is it, 15 years
Oh,
old
God, I
or
don't
something,
know.
So what
or
is
longer?
the main thing that is the profound part of that for you? That just, it could be the whole thing, but is there some moment within it that just makes you go,
I think it's the whole reality of this, that life is a set, that there are people who are watching and controlling things that we're not aware of. So for example, are we as humans in like a petri dish where God is manipulating and watching us like that kind of director? And so, yeah, the whole idea of Truman just living his day-to-day happy existence, not having any idea that there's a whole other realm outside of his reality.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And that everything is orchestrated. And I think a lot of people feel that way, that life is orchestrated or predestined, or what's the point if there isn't really free will? And yeah, so it's.
But I mean, that concept is I'll say a pretty profound concept with a lot of these types of movies. So you can throw Matrix in there too. Matrix is more of a sci-fi version of the Truman Show because it's being orchestrated by
yeah.
a higher intelligence, right? You've got the whole Matrix scenario, which is a false world that you live in, but that false world is created by AI sentinels,
Controllers or whatever.
right? Yeah, that are controlling how you live.
But the
and what
difference
you
is,
envision.
right from the beginning of the Matrix, they understand, they're aware
you
of
can
that.
either unplug or
And they're
plug
operating
into it.
outside
Right.
of that existence,
Exactly.
whereas Truman doesn't figure that
it's a
out till the
gotcha.
To
end.
the very end, yeah. It's a
Yeah.
very end aspect of exiting that reality and finding a new reality.
Well, to me, if you were to compare the two, Matrix is more like that digital reality that we talk about, that
Oh,
we're
yeah.
living in a digital experience. And so there are all of these, we can create our reality a bit more, or we think we're creating our reality a bit more. Whereas with Truman, it's more, he's living in this lovely kind of experience. He's
Yes.
not really having to face hardships
Right.
per se.
He's not having to create a reality. He's living in a reality that's
Well, he's
been
just in an
created for him.
oblivious, happy
Right,
state.
right.
Everything is happy for him.
Yeah.
He's a very happy being. And I guess that begs the question, is it better to be ignorant and happy, or
Being aware and
face
challenged.
challenges, but be aware.
There's that expression, ignorance is bliss.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But I think so much of, I think the whole reason we're here, even if we had everything so nice and lovely, we would fight against it because we need that contrast in order to grow.
Yeah.
The conflict. Yeah.
So, and that was his ultimate, I mean, think how shocking that was for
Yeah.
him when he realized, you know, oh my God, this is all scripted. Wait, what? You know, which was harsh, but that's a great experience for him to go into because he wasn't really growing
Right.
as a person.
True.
So he was
Right.
more two-dimensional.
Yeah, good
Until
point.
And it also goes, excuse me, into the questions. What were the points at which he starts to question this reality? Like what? And he started to push the bounds.
The
remember?
little glitches that were taking
he'd
place
start-
throughout the
yeah,
day.
he
Yeah.
starts to
Go
pay
listen
attention.
again.
Yeah, right,
Or watch
right.
it again. Yeah.
And he'll try to push the bound. Like, I want to drive down that road. They wouldn't let him drive down that road. He's like, what's down
Yeah.
that road? What's the problem or whatever? Oh, and they, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's about our own reality and waking up from, well, what we call our awakening is what were the questions that were niggling at us that made us start to.
Yeah, I wonder what that was. Because, like, yeah, I mean, you just realize, like, I think a lot of people can identify with this, where you just somewhere there's something in you, and I don't think it's just you just know there's something more out there. It just it's something soul wise that you feel unfulfilled, incomplete. There's just, you know, there's something missing, but you don't know what it is. And that's what starts the journey. And that had to be, when I talk about his experience being very
True.
two-dimensional,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, wait, that's just a natural component of being human, I think.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, though we had very different upbringings, yours within the Christian framework, mine not, but you, being raised in that, had that essence or that feeling that there was something different, something more,
right?
something more. For myself, same thing. Young child, you know, being raised by my mother, there were plenty of times that I would lay in my bed and I would just know there was something.
Yeah.
I would just know there was something greater than I was, and I would pray to it. I didn't know what I was praying to. I would just have a conversation before I'd fall asleep, just knowing that was, and that's 7, 8, 9 years old. You know, so two different life upbringings, but yet the same. So it's inherent in every being that we know that there's something there.
So that's reminding me, isn't in the origin story, don't they talk about that there's some programming in humans? Like there's a lot that we're not allowed to know, so we can go through this experience.
Yeah, they
But
talk
there's-
about this, the seed of needing to seek.
Yeah,
To seek
yeah,
outside of
that's,
yourself.
who was,
Yes.
do you remember which?
Don't
Gosh, I
remember
don't
which one
remember
it was.
Yeah, but that was a very important component so that we weren't just sitting there complacent, just going, I mean, you know, like a lion doesn't sit there and go, oh, I need to see what's over the ridge.
Right.
You know, it's like food's here, we're good.
Yeah.
You know, food, female, you know, cubs, whatever, you got everything you need right there. Whereas,
Why do I need to go look any further?
yeah, we have that, no, there's something more. And if it's going to even risk putting everything that feels safe here, I'm going to step over and experience that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right, so
full
Truman
of 'em.
Show. Everybody needs to watch that one and tell us in the comments what you think about that one.
Yes.
And then there is a TV show that I can't contribute to, but you two watch, Travelers.
No, on Netflix,
Oh
Travelers.
Lord! And actually, you're watching it for the
No,
second time.
I already watched it for the second time.
That's what
all
you
three
did, okay.
seasons. Yep. I'm kind of depressed that they don't have a fourth.
I know. Oh my gosh. It's like unhook me from the IV.
Right.
All right, so
like-
tell the audience.
So the
what's
whole
deal.
entire concept of this is that humanity developed an AI that kind of like the normal stories of sci-fi and dystopian and all that stuff. The AI eventually became aware and took over, but realized that at some point it made a mistake, and basically the mistake was making the AI. So the AI, and so humanity perishes to a certain point, and humans volunteer their consciousness to be brought back in time, to be dropped into an individual at their point of death.
Like a walk-in.
like a walk-in.
Like a walk-in.
Exactly. So
It's like the classic example.
oh yeah. So they
Except the walk-ins can walk in while the body is still alive, and that's why.
this
No, they
body is
have
still
to-
alive.
the
The body
body
is
has
still
to-
alive. It's right
Right.
at the transitional moment.
Right.
So it's not an agreement. No, yeah, it's
Yeah.
not an agreement,
No,
but
this
it's.
is a
Right, okay.
complete
Yeah.
this is a complete rewrite of the consciousness, and they talk about that through the series. So this volunteer consciousness from the future agrees to work with the AI to be brought back. I don't want to say teleported, but brought back in.
So the
past.
AI is actually orchestrating its own demise?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, okay.
Yes. Yes. So
That's so interesting.
Oh, it's a very yes. It's a very.
Why couldn't the AI just allow humanity to reproduce and recreate
It's
them?
It's
Season
it's
4.
The season 4. There we go.
yeah.
That doesn't exist.
No, but
it has this awareness of like we always take it that that AI is going to become self-aware and decide it's better than us.
Right.
But that's not the
No.
assumption of this. The AI was created to enhance humans' lives, and then realizes that it hasn't taken certain things into account, and therefore it has led to humanity's demise.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a whole different.
All of humanity was dead then at that point?
But no, they didn't die.
it's-
But
the environment.
Hello.
Catastrophes?
Catastrophes.
the word I'm looking
I
for.
can't even say it incorrectly like you.
Started happening, and so
Like the
humanity was brought
oxygen,
into
remember?
shelters, and
So it's not a good situation.
no, not at all, not at all.
No, like there's pollution.
Okay, so
yeah, they haven't
Tell
seen
us
the
some of the
sun.
concepts.
Oh,
then
and they're
that-
all vegan in the future.
Oh yeah, they
Are they? Are they eating this
No,
lab
no,
generated?
they're eating like this
and bugs?
yeast
So it is lab generated.
stuff. Yeah, lab generated yeast
Yeah.
meal.
No, thank
something.
you.
Yeah. So they're fascinated by the food here.
Which
It is,
concepts that we've talked about then did they cover in there that you are fascinated by? That
Oh, I mean, they talk, I mean, so you see where, healing practices or meditation or these mindful aspects take part in many of the characters' lives, and they understand the usefulness of it in the future. They understand that this is a process, and so now they remember this in their life now, and they utilize it,
Okay.
for their own benefit. But it's just, to me, it's a fascinating. Now, granted, to me, I use the word campy. It gets, serialized over certain episodes, meaning it's kind of the same repetitive thing over time, but they change it just enough to make it intriguing, gets you hooked in. But if you stay with the concept of trying to really pull it apart, and that's what I did while watching it the second time, I was able to digest it a lot better and understand where it was going. So it really made sense as far as kind of what we've talked about as far as AI and consciousness. Consciousness plays a huge role in that entire process, and how you can rewrite consciousness, and how you can change the outcome of a current existence through rewriting the consciousness. And healing through rewriting the consciousness. And it was just,
well, that's interesting.
yeah, it was very, very interesting. Yeah. So,
I just like the character development.
yeah.
But yes,
it
it was-
does have good character.
The other one that I can't speak on is this Stargate something. I know our friend Chris likes
Yeah,
that.
I can't speak on that one either. I just haven't gotten into that one
Have you
yet.
been watching that?
It's the aspect of, like, okay, so many of us were kids from the Star Trek generation, and we'd sit there and go, oh my God, he's using a tricorder, and now we've got phones,
yeah.
like all those kinds of things that they perceived back then that we now have in existence now, and like, how did they even know, kind of thing. But Stargate takes it from a whole different experience of man tripping on the ability to use a wormhole. So, they talk about, and I don't, I'm not a physicist, so I have no idea how legit they talk, but they do share, all of this stuff about the wormhole travel and what the anomaly is and all that kind of stuff. And you figure they've got a couple of physicists on, on site or something, but it's kind of like how human nature plays out and how it connects with other civilizations. Now, the part that I have trouble, there's always, there's always a certain level at which you have to accept. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
for purposes of moving the plot forward, we're going to,
For theatrical purposes, I have to accept this premise.
Everyone speaks generally the same colloquial English. Some are more medieval, but even what we perceive as medieval, because true medieval, we wouldn't even recognize the language. But the idea is that this alien race came to Earth and presented as gods. So they presented as gods like Hathor and Anubis and all of these. So they created that personification and got the human population to believe, and they enslaved them. So then through these wormholes, there are these gateways, they take them to these different planets to serve as either labor or eventually they're going to put what they are actually constituted of, which is this kind of worm-like creature that they put in the back of the neck or whatever, some go in the stomach, and they enslave them through that. They take over their body, they operate through that. Yeah. So, but there's
just
every single episode.
Had me at worms. Wormhole maybe, but worms. No.
Yeah, they're creepy. They go.
Yeah. As they always do in alien movies.
Yeah.
Or what is that alien one where it came out of the?
Oh, that's always the classic. Yeah. But anyway, it's just the myriad of different places they go to, the experiences they have.
Is it similar then in that way to Star Trek stuff? I guess.
I mean, Star Trek is.
They have a different mission every time.
Yeah. Essentially, but their goal is now, it was to explore, and they realize, oh my God, everywhere they go, they're finding Egyptian hieroglyphs from different eras. Some are more recognizable than others. And so it kind of starts off as that, but then of course, human nature, the government's funding this, they want resources,
Right. Okay.
And then they end up pissing off the people who created these gateways, supposedly created the gateways. And the next thing you know, they're having to, they're looking for supplies, different technologies to fight off the people they've now pissed off. But it's cool because at one point, they've reached a level of kind of interfering with all these different civilizations dealing with each other that one of the characters gets called up into a spaceship that has a little gray man. And it's so cool because they talk about, we can share this with you, but we've got an agreement that we will not interfere with, the direction that man is going in. We will not give you, things that are way beyond your understanding because you will blow yourself up.
Sure. Yeah.
So, it's always like these guys have been shot at and tortured and all this kind of stuff. So, talk about campy. It's gotten to the point now. I'm in season.
How many ways can you kill the person?
Well, I'm in season 7 where it's funny because the main character, the leader of the group of SG1, he's just if there's somebody new with them and they get captured by the OOAL, or I guess and he's just okay, so what they do is they capture us and then they give us this big speech and so it's kind of like speaking to that fourth wall, kind of thing.
That's funny.
And it's just, you're hooked by that time.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that doesn't sound like my cup of tea.
No, for you, no, it's definitely not yours.
No.
But I will say there's 2 others that are these are on Netflix as well. We talked about it in the previous episode, just touched on it, which was, is it 1889? I think it's called 1889. These are German made, and so you can have them dubbed over, or
you don't even like to watch those kinds
you're
of
right,
shows.
I don't, but boy, I got hooked, and I left the subtitles on, and I was hooked. So
Really?
I can't tell you, I'm not going to go back into all of it for 1889, but it is very fascinating, the concepts that are played out as far as,
reality.
Yeah, multiple reality aspects, and being able to loop yourself through the realities, coming into certain points, and it's very interesting.
So it's a workout for the brain.
It is.
Which is good.
Yeah. And then Dark. The other one is Dark. That one's
done
very
by the
good
same
too.
people.
Done by the same people.
German
and
subtitles also?
Subtitles. And
well, we listened to the...
Interesting.
We did
you
the
can
English
do the voiceover. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
just not watch the lips moving?
Sometimes
You get used to it.
It gets a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sometimes it's a
Dark
little off.
is this is more about, again, it's kind of on the same aspect of the future coming back to the past to be able to change the future for the positive. And so it has this loop of this one particular, I'll say, portal that the main characters can travel through and from and change reality points back and forth. So it's very intriguing. So I would recommend those two.
Yeah, and you're like, it just helps to go ahead and print out all the characters, so you see who they were as a child, because the person who's
that
a
one for
child,
sure. Yes, that one
ends up
for
being
sure.
an adult. Like, and so like, and they were very good. The producers were very good about opening the show up, and they would show like photographs of this person at this age, this age, this age,
Yes.
so that you could clue in a little bit better.
Yes.
But
I'm laughing because I feel like you need the chart on the wall with
You
all
do.
the
That one you
pictures and
do. That one you do. Yeah.
Oh, but
it's fascinating. I think
Now-
that's another. Maybe those two I'll have to go back and rewatch again. Yeah.
while I'm at work.
Well, of course.
okay, so I have a different one, a totally different bit. Wait, you had one?
I was only going to say, if you want to work out for your brain,
Oh God, yes.
Inception.
Oh yeah.
And then you can write down the one if you don't see it
Inception,
on here,
yeah,
write down the one you want to
Inception,
talk about.
as far as-
So we had Chris Cuniff on our show recently, and he talked about lucid dreaming, and we talked about the nature of reality. And when you're in that dream state, it is like, it is a reality.
Yes.
And so in Inception, that's what they talk about, combined dreaming. And I think I asked Chris about that, like if we could all go, because you can kind of go into a meditative experience and go to the same place like we've done in our
Yes.
group. But can you make yourself dream together and get into the same lucid type of dream? And that's what Inception's kind of all about. But there's different, then there's like dream within a dream within a dream. I cannot keep track.
And
I
with
can't
each
keep
with
track of
each
that
layer
movie.
of the dream, time is extended an exponent of time. So like the first layer in is relative to the actual reality state. The second layer in
I didn't
is
even get that.
divergent by like 5 hours.
Is it getting longer?
It's getting longer. So
Okay,
by
you can do more in the dream
by
state.
the fifth level, 1 minute here is like 5 days here,
my.
or maybe vice versa,
Yeah.
kind of like.
Oh, right, because
Yeah.
that guy's wife got stuck down there.
Yes.
And like years had gone
Yes,
by.
yes.
But yet it was only a short time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't keep
So-
track of that movie.
Yeah.
But that's a
I
fun
got
one if you like the
all
dream
these
stuff.
movies are all these.
They're all
movies.
coming to you
Yeah,
now,
they're
right?
all coming.
When I asked him for notes, because I wrote my notes for this show, and I made them way, way, way too small.
Way too small.
But anyway, that's why I got my glasses handy. But I asked you, and he not giving
gotta
me
write one down, too.
Not giving me much help there. All right,
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to do
what do you want to talk
mine
about?
now.
Do yours.
This is one I tell my clients about all the time because it really helped the basis of a greater understanding about what happens when souls cross over, and it's what dreams may come. So
What,
this,
isn't that with what's his name?
Robin Williams.
Yes, that's a
Yes.
good Williams. That's a
Robin
good one.
Williams.
Robin Williams, yeah.
And so his wife dies, or no, I guess one of their children dies, and I guess it was the wife's fault or something. She's so filled with guilt, she ends up killing herself or something like that. I'm trying to remember the setup of it. So anyway, it's just now him and his daughter, if I've got it right. I guess
We probably should have put at the top, spoiler alerts, don't watch this.
Yeah, well, that'll have to go on the description that you put in.
Right.
And so, but that's just all setting it up. But so his, I don't remember how it all begins, where he starts. I don't remember what the mechanism is for him to switch over into this dream state or whatever. But while maybe he is put into a position where he's near death or something, but he ends up going across to find his wife because she's in a bad place, because she's decided that she's full of guilt and remorse and that stuff, so she should be in hell. And so it goes through these concepts of, like, she was very religious, so he's trying to find her, and he's having to go through like Dante's Inferno kind of thing.
Wow.
Whereas he runs into, I can't remember if he runs into his daughter, and it's kind of like his daughter's soul, or maybe it's when he finally crosses over. I can't remember
We
which.
probably should have watched all these again before we started talking about that.
Well, no, but it's the concepts
It's
that
the
are
concepts,
really
yeah.
important. Is that it shows this continuation of studying and learning. And, like he meets this woman who's Asian, and they're talking, and she's like, I'll help you on this journey. And, and like, they're at the Hall of Records kind of thing, and they're learning all this stuff, and there's lots of people coming in and out. And he goes through this process where he learns about how, when you're on the other side, how you're creating your environment. You can create and he said, how do I do that? And she's just like, think of paints. And he started throwing paints around. And then the next thing, the paints suddenly become flowers and grass. And I'm getting goosebumps. It's like, so it's all about our creative and our co-creative process. Yeah. And what the soul does when the soul does cross over, and how some souls believe that they need, to go through a hellish experience, while others have this more beautiful experience. And then there's just a couple of moments that just really have always grabbed me. And one was it takes forever for him to, no, I'm not going to tell you guys that. You have to watch it. I'm not going to say.
Good teaser.
It's something about the Asian woman. But there's one line that I've used from that movie over and over again, because the daughter breaks something in real life, in like actual, their reality. She breaks something, and he's like, why did you do that? And she goes, well, you weren't paying attention anyway. And it was kind of like how he was so caught up with all this other stuff that he was missing the precious moments. So there's so many.
May have to put that on our watch list.
Oh, I know I've seen it, but I could see it again.
I could watch it
I don't
again,
remember all of that.
Yeah, and which reminds me of another one that we're going to be talking about. So many.
We might go long, people.
Yeah.
But Soul is that animated
one. That's so wonderful.
A really good depiction of how the soul works. I think I like that a lot. We won't go into that too much, but that was a good one to watch.
But what we're touching on here, if you pull yourselves out to the 30,000 foot view, is where do these concepts come from? Where do the writers, the one that comes up with the manuscript for this, what are they connected into? Mm-hmm. What are they really connecting into? I mean, we've talked about this on some other podcast somewhere about The Simpsons.
Oh, right.
Right? And The Simpsons and the writers for The Simpsons, and how they predict with accuracy what is going to take place 5 or 10 years in the future.
Like the sign dropping and on the, when the escalator's going up, and it's like, come on, no.
All kinds of stuff.
Yeah. So it's,
they predicted that like 20 years to 25 years in the future.
It's how do we know that, and this would be like going back to the Truman Show thing. How do we know we're not in a reality state that is scripted for us, right? And so the cartoon of The Simpsons.
You guys were supposed to write all of these down ahead of time when I asked you for the notes, and now. But
right. So, but the writers, they're tapped in to that reality point that is now coming true. So it's so.
Well, one would say, and people have said that this didn't come out of thin air, that these producers or writers are tapped in, connecting, getting this information, partly to show us, to wake us up to these ideas so that they can be introduced later on. So that, for example, so that we're not afraid when the aliens come and colonize with us, for example, or whatever.
Not colonize us, colonize with us.
Yeah.
But they always do it in such, they
make us afraid.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's what I liked about with What Dreams May Come. I've used that as an example. I've told clients time and time again, please go watch that, because you'll understand more about your loved ones, what they're doing on the other side.
Sure.
That it's not the ups and downs that we have here, but it's a continuation of growth. It's not just, well, there I am, I'm dead.
I'm just a bubble of energy. Hanging out.
Yeah. So it's.
Now, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about Interstellar.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
The ending scene, of course, where he's in that matrix and he's seeing all of the time.
Quantum field.
He's seeing the time frames, and he can tap in to those times,
and interact
time is
with
now.
those. Yeah.
Well,
Fantastic.
think of the, in that moment when he's in that space and he can tap into any moment, and he's like, what is the most profound thing I can do in this moment?
Right.
You know?
Push a book off a shelf in his daughter's bedroom.
Yeah. That's just the crazy, but that's like the butterfly effect, that ripple effect.
Right.
Yes.
You know,
Right,
it's just,
right.
Or something about a watch. And so you see it in real time when he's living with her and you see the book fall off. But it's him in the future or whatever.
Yeah.
When he travels to space and he
Or
comes back
an
around through the
alternate
it's just
point in
mind-boggling.
reality interacting at the same time.
well, yeah, because that's the whole thing. There is no loop.
Right.
Because my mind used to go, well, which came first? I don't understand. And it's like,
Good point.
it didn't come first.
It's all simultaneous. It's
That's a
all
good
together
point.
at the same time.
Yeah.
That's what we talk about when we're talking about, multiple reality points. Yes, there are multiple reality points, but they all exist within
the
one
now.
construct.
That's
right
why
now.
staying in the now is the most powerful because that's where you can affect
where you can do
all of
something.
those
All the
different
other-
realities. But I have to
Connected
say,
points.
I love Matt Damon, but he's a bad guy in this one. Oh, that was hard to take.
Really?
Yes, it was
I
hard
don't
to
mean
take.
to laugh. It's like,
Yeah, I know.
it's Matt Damon.
But there,
But he was
he played a bad guy. There was another
But in this
movie.
one, it
It
just
wasn't
hurt my heart.
It wasn't The Martian, but another one where they're trying to solve something to save the world, and he ends up pulling the guy's air ventilator out and just leaving him to die. And-
That's Interstellar.
that's Interstellar.
oh, was that?
That's Interstellar.
I think
the
that's
pivotal scene
Interstellar,
it's the
yes.
pivotal scene where he's with
Normally, he's the good
yeah.
guy. And he's fighting off the baddies and
Interstellar.
it is,
Jesus.
yeah.
Wow,
On the
my
ice
God.
planet.
Well, it is a 3-hour.
Yeah,
it is.
Ice
It
Planet,
is a
yeah.
3-hour movie, so it's easy to think it's another movie. So yeah, it's
But
like
they talk about in that movie also where they're going to go next because they can only go one of two places, and it ends up that whatever.
Oh,
what's that
that's
female? The female lead.
yeah, I can't think of her name.
Anyway, she wanted to go where the heart connected her, and they chose the opposite one or whatever. And anyway, so there's a lot to
Yep.
say about the heart connection and your intuition with the heart. It's a fabulous movie if you haven't watched that one yet.
But it's also too, if you want to dive into that Interstellar, do some research on that one because the writers actually employed a lot of knowns about the universe in the soundtrack. The scene where on the water planet, the ticking is represented. Every tick is
That one is wild.
is like 7 years or whatever it is.
Yeah, I
it's
do.
on
Water
Earth
planet.
years or whatever. It's some fascinating understanding of physics and if you were to go that far out into space and all this stuff. So yeah, they employed a lot of interesting kind of nuggets throughout the movie that are actual reality points.
Wow.
Okay, I don't know if this is where you can watch this. It was on Netflix. Don't Worry, Darling.
I think it's still on there.
Is it?
I think so.
Don't worry.
Oh,
Yeah,
my God.
that's an interesting one.
Now that's fairly dystopian, I guess, but it's not like a dystopian scene where everything's gray and whatever.
No.
And it's hard to say much without revealing the end, and I don't really want to reveal the end because it's
No.
you don't understand the movie until the very end.
Until the
Okay.
very last, I'll say 20 to 30 minutes. Yeah.
But you
Something I
got
haven't seen. Yay.
you have to watch Don't Worry, Darling.
Yes.
That movie is haunting. It's haunting.
It's haunting at the end.
The implication
from the
of that
beginning
movie.
to that point, it's a beautiful movie.
It's normal. It's just
It's a
normal.
normal movie.
Well, see, that reminds me of, okay, just go ahead and write this one down. That reminds me of The Others, Nicole Kidman's movie.
Oh, tell me about that.
So very similar where you think, and kind of like also Sixth Sense,
Oh,
where you
right.
think you know where it's going, but then, the script gets flipped and you
Plot
get
twist,
to see it
yeah.
from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Which, in Nicole Kidman's case, that's well, both of them are about ghosts, about the unseen. But it's the perspective that you're like, it gives you the opportunity to see it from a totally different perspective.
Yeah.
So both of those were, I don't know what Don't Worry, Darling is.
Yeah, you'll have to watch that one.
Who are the characters? What's it about? Like, is it about an advertising executive that ends up going to a small little town
It's really
where
hard
she
to
meets this
say.
gorgeous guy that has a little daughter and owns a bakery? That's Hallmark.
it's
sorry.
set in the 50s.
Set- Well, the premise is that it is set in the 50s and that the husbands are very successful business people at this
They go away to work,
complex, right?
and the women stay
and all
home.
the women just stay at home.
It was supposedly the happy time.
right.
Kind of
in
like
humanity.
Stepford Wives.
Kind of like Stepford Wives, but different.
All right.
It brings back when we talk about the good old times, like we
Right.
want to go back to the 50s where things were happy and housewives
to
could
worry
stay
about
home
anything.
And they
and
weren't.
raise their
I know.
children and
Right.
all
right.
of that. Yeah.
Right. But yeah. But
If you watch
But it-
that,
but
I
it-
want to know if you agree that that is a better life. Knowing what you know at the end of that show, is that a better life?
Oh.
Would you choose that?
No, I'm not going to give anything away.
Okay.
We can have
I'm
that.
just
We
saying,
can have a
would you
discussion.
choose-
We can just have a
would you
discussion
choose that?
offline to
Yeah,
really
yeah.
dive into that.
Well, you could say what you
No.
think you would choose, but I think in the end, everything is a choice in the moment, depending on where your heart's at, what's motivating you, what
You got to
your
watch the
needs
movie. Your
are.
answer for that would be
But I think,
completely
but I
different.
think it does go back to that bigger question that we talked about, which is it better to have a happy-go-lucky reality
Like Truman
that
Show.
isn't real, or would you rather have the real nitty-gritty?
So which was
That's
better for
basically the
Truman?
question. I think he chose the real nitty-gritty, but we don't know because we don't follow him after that, right?
I really need a Truman Show too.
To find out what happened.
Yeah.
That's like Rob always wants to see. He's just like, they're stopping here.
I know.
And it's
yes.
like, it's to allow your mind to go,
take over
what are the
and-
possibilities, what you get to do more with books and stuff.
Yeah.
They gotta, it always frustrates them.
So there's.
All right, so what else are you guys writing here?
I brought.
Oh, Lovely Bones. I read that book. I didn't watch the
I didn't know
movie.
there was a movie. I don't even know the book.
The movie is as good as the book.
Is it?
I swear they did such a great job. It's a sensitive subject matter because it has to do with a pedophile. But he's not the important thing. It's the experience. Like the reason why I put it down was because I thought it was such a lovely representation of a soul who has kind of gone into that waiting room, that waiting stage. They're not ready to, and I've experienced that
Because
a
she was
lot.
trying to solve her murder, right?
Yeah, trying to solve stuff. And, some people could say, well, it's a restless soul or soul with unfinished business, all this kind of stuff. And when I've done like a mediumship for people, I've been taken to a place where it's just kind of like, this is where everybody's sort of hanging out before they move to the next stage. And they co-create and they make it, it's quite lovely and wonderful, but it's not, it's like then they bounce off from there. And so she has the option of being able to hang out at this sort of lovely thing that she's sort of co-created with these other girls. But she's restless. She wants to resolve this. She wants to make sure her family's okay. So it's just touching and poignant and, beautiful for that.
Yeah.
But that's the main reason why I wrote it down was just
Lovely Bones.
I like how it shows that waiting area. Like I think that certain movies have done, like what dreams may come. They've done such a great job at explaining a perspective that like that I personally was trying
Right.
to explain to others, and fully feel. And the fact that they could immerse you in it is just like
Bring you along for that ride, and
Yeah.
yeah. That
yeah.
makes sense.
It's
All right, so how about this one? I Am Mother. Have you watched that one?
yes,
Oh my God.
yeah.
With Jessica Chastain,
Yeah.
I think.
And that's the AI.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that premise is so cool. So you have this AI machine who calls herself mother basically and has a human child. There's a human girl, little girl, who's being raised by, and this brings up, oh my God, in this movie, so many decisions and so many
Yeah.
things. And so the little girl calls this machine mother, and that's all she knows. She has no other family, no other humans anywhere, nothing.
Right.
And I don't know. And then eventually another human, because it's dystopian. There's a human race outside of this confines of where mother and the little girl live, daughter. And then there's human, Jessica Chastain, who comes into that environment, shatters this little girl's understanding of what is her reality, and the struggles that ensue between Jessica Chastain wanting to tell the daughter what the real stuff is, or whether the daughter should stay there in this happy, all she knows type of environment. But what's so interesting, and I hate to give away the plot too, but at one point, mother says to convince the daughter to stay, I'll let you raise your brother. We'll create I guess they have these eggs or
Yeah.
wombs or whatever it
Yeah.
is with other humans, right? And so they say, because the little girl wants company, wants a brother or whatever. I'll let you raise a brother if you, stay or whatever. The whole thing, there's so many ethical dilemmas in this movie. And then the daughter figures out that she wasn't the first daughter.
Oh, yeah. God, you reminded me of that.
Oh my God. Like the daughter, if they don't perform, like there's skills tests because mother is raising the next batch of humanity. So it's like creating this superhuman, the best humans that they could, and controlling the genes and what they learn and the environment and all that sort of stuff. So once the daughter gets to a certain age, she has to take these tests and there's all these evaluations and whatever. And if the daughter doesn't pass muster, in other words, this is what it kind of felt like with the humans, the first humans in the Petri dish. And if they didn't pass muster, it was like wipe out humanity and start over.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah,
Reset.
it takes you right back to that.
Exactly.
Reset.
So do a reset. So that's basically what this is representing is mother doing a reset on the humanity, which daughter represents basically, on the new humanity.
Eve, yeah.
Oh my God, you'll have to watch that. I am mother.
I wrote down Tenet.
That's another one that I don't
I
understand.
don't remember that
Tenet,
You may have not watched it.
T-E-N-E-T. There's not a second N. Tenet.
Oh, okay.
Tenet, yeah.
Yeah. It's it will be a mind journey. You'll probably have to watch it a couple of times because you'll lose yourself in there going, where,
Is it a
how?
movie?
What is the premise?
It's a movie. It's a movie.
I never watched the whole thing. It doesn't make
What is the
sense
premise?
to me.
He can't even wrap his head around it. You
I
can't bring
know.
up something that you can't.
All I know is there's a boat and it gets blown up at the end or something like that.
The premise is this ability to manipulate time and space and be able to transverse reality points all within the same timeline. So they say that these beings, I guess they reference beings, or an alien race, developed the technology to manipulate time in a way that it acts in reverse,
Okay.
all within the construct of the reality that is moving forward. So, yeah, trust me, you have to. It's a conceptual type of understanding,
Okay.
but it's so. They have a scene. One of the opening scenes there. There's a siege on an opera theater, and there's during one of the battles, instead of bullets being shot at them, they're acting in reverse. They're
Leaving their body.
They're or wherever they hit next to them, they're going back to where they originated from, all within the same space as things that are moving forward. So time is reversed as it's moving forward. So it's a whole concept around being able to change the perception or change the reality through the construct of this reversed reality that is operating at the same time.
Wasn't that from a director that has a lot of those types of movies that Evan really likes? Our son. Who is that? Do you remember who that is?
I'm not going to say because I can't remember. I'm sure Evan will
There's some.
kill me for that. But but it is. You have to watch it and understand it because it does. There are pivotal points in it that make you go, "Ooh, wait a minute. Is that a possibility?"
Or you got to figure out, are we going forward, backwards? Which part of the time are we in? That kind of that makes me work too hard. I want to watch a movie and relax.
Fiction.
There's point. So it plays forward as a normal as a normal timeline to a certain point. Then it's basically like playing the movie in reverse, but yet playing it forward, and you see it from the other perspective. The reverse perspective, and all of these scenes are now being played out from that point of view in reverse order while the other things
Maybe
are
I should
taking
try
place.
it again.
Yeah, it's like hurting my mind to hold both in the same space.
Yeah, it makes more sense when you watch it. It does. It really makes more sense as you watch it.
Okay, so on a lighter note, I wrote down much lighter.
I like brain movies. Yeah.
Well, I can go all over the place with it. This is one I love. This is an older movie, Defending Your Life. It's with Meryl Streep and Albert Brooks.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he did he directed it and starred in it, and it's just like he's this very fearful kind of individual who just like things don't like. He just doubts himself, doubts life, like he just can't get it together. And I guess he looks down and ends up smack dying, and he crosses over. And so it's his experience as he's going before those who are going to judge him. So it's like you're processing, you're out processing.
He's at the processing center.
Yeah. And so like his experience, he's given this kind of, okay room, and he's thinking, okay, this is fine. And he's going through this experience with this person who is his contact, and and the contact's just kind of giving him okay service. And then he meets this beautiful woman who's played by Meryl Streep, who is being given the gold, the red carpet treatment.
Right.
Everything is just so beautiful and perfect. And everyone's like, what can we do for you? And all this kind of stuff. And, ultimately what I don't want to give it all away, but it's going through those two different experiences, but by being within her, just her energy and stuff, it helps his soul to really examine what is it I've been fearful of, what is it I've been doing, and what do I choose now. And I don't want to say anything, because if you haven't seen it, I get goosebumps when I talk about it. Like it's just one of those favorites, because it's very comical and sarcastic and all that kind of stuff, and yet there's such a beautiful meaning to the whole thing, which I was just really impressed he was able to convey. Yeah, so that
Very
is
good.
Defending Your Life.
And we can't leave this podcast without me saying one of my all-time favorite movies is Willy Wonka.
Wait, you have another one on there.
Well, we're not going to get to all of those. We can't.
Oh,
We'll go
you
for
only
days.
have one more.
What's the? Oh,
Yeah, I know.
okay.
It's not a big, what is it? It's not a big deal. It's called Ex Machina from 2014, but
It's not Machina?
Machina.
Ex Machina. It's another AI type of
That's
movie.
not
It's-
Scarlett Johansson, is it?
No.
Oh, okay, the one where she explains,
That's-
reality.
the ending of
Okay, so
the
Ex
ending of
Machina.
that one is haunting
Yes,
as well.
yes, it
Very
is.
much so.
Yeah.
Okay, so it gets
But
a
if you
mention.
like exploring those AI type of things,
Yeah.
that's a good one. It is a
Yep.
good one. But
Yep.
anyway,
But
so
Willy Wonka.
I love Willy Wonka, and we actually went to the real movie theater not too long ago to see the new Willy Wonka.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That one has probably more metaphysical, spiritual messages than the original Willy Wonka, but I liked
It's the precursor.
it. Is
to-
like the precursor, explains how Willy Wonka got to
Which
be
I
Willy
wasn't
Wonka.
sure I was going to like it, and
I
there
like
are parts
seeing
of it that
I was the same way at first. I was like, I sat down. I'm like, I don't know if I'm really gonna like this. But then I got into it. I was like, okay, this is.
And
this is
knowing
movie.
the story behind the scenes, how Willy Wonka got
Right.
to be this figure that he is, it was really nice. I liked it.
And
it's the power of positive
I-
thinking.
being a little bit of a fanboy to the main character.
Oh, really?
He's the main character in Dune. The new Dune, and Dune 2. I don't know. Yeah, so he's
Okay, but
he's
I'm
on my
gonna
list.
Tell you something, you guys got to look for this, because I saw this in a TikTok, and I thought, whoa, this is really cool. So in the original Willy Wonka, this is so cool. The Charlie, looks down, and through a grate he sees a quarter.
Yeah.
And he gets that quarter out, and he goes
the
and
candy
he
bar.
buys the candy bar.
Right.
Okay. Well, in Willy Wonka,
The new one.
yeah, the new one, he flips a coin and it
It goes
falls
in-
into the grate.
Oh,
That's
I
the
missed
point.
that. Oh, I missed that.
really?
Wow.
You'll never see it the same. Like, it's so freaking cool. Like the continuity that
They did actually, thinking about it now, they did have a few kind of loops.
There were
Yeah, there are
things.
a few
that
things.
tied those loose
Yeah,
ends. Yes, that's what I liked about it. But
yes.
I don't guess I caught that
Caught
one.
that. I didn't
I'll
catch
tell
that
you,
either.
it is hard. I was always such a Hugh Grant fan.
Yeah.
I still am.
Oh gosh, yes.
He has been in so many movies lately that
my
are
God.
so self-deprecating,
Yes.
like that are so not, and
Yes.
just to see him green.
Yeah.
Oh my
Green,
God.
right? He was great.
Go see the new Willy
and-
Wonka just to see Hugh Grant.
Because I'm just
It's
going,
hilarious.
what the hell's
Yeah.
going on
Yeah.
here? Like this.
And it's a great character. He's
is.
hilarious.
It is,
I
yeah.
love that guy. Oh
Yeah,
my
but
gosh.
he was in that, and then he was just in another one recently where, and I'm trying to grasp what it was, where he
Hugh
played this.
Grant?
Yeah, Hugh Grant. And he plays a self-deprecating character. He's
Well,
like
isn't it the one-
he's an actor.
Yeah. It's like rival cereal companies or something.
Yeah, yes, the rival series. Yeah,
and he
And
plays
he's
like
Tony the Tiger.
Yes.
Yes. And again,
Is that on Netflix?
yeah.
And you're watching this while I'm at work?
No, I
I'm sure.
haven't watched this one yet because I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna like that, but I
Oh,
might
no,
have to
you
watch
gotta
it.
Oh, well, we got to watch it.
I'll have to watch that.
But
one.
here you take someone who was, such a heartthrob and
Oh,
everyone was
yeah,
like, he's in
yeah.
all the rom-coms and stuff.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
he's just kind of laughing
He's
about
just enjoying
things
life.
and-
He's aging well then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
yeah.
it's kind of sad, but yeah.
No, but I mean, aging well, but he's not.
accepting and accepting.
Yes,
but
yes. Okay, well, the reason I'm bringing up Willy Wonka, and that's from 1971, by the way.
we all get a candy bar.
Sure, honey.
Okay.
I'll give you a candy bar after. One of the songs
We'll break
that
out the
I just,
chocolate.
Willy Wonka itself is not necessarily a metaphysical or spiritual movie. It does have some good messages in it, but the song Pure Imagination, you guys, pure imagination is exactly how you create your reality. And that's what he's sharing when he sings that, when they're going down the boat and he's singing this.
I sing that song
Let me tell
literally
you,
all the time.
I do
Really?
too, and I love it.
You really? I'd never heard you.
I was just humming it
Oh,
before we
you hum
started
it.
here, and
Oh,
you're
okay.
like,
Yeah, yeah.
what are you
Well, it's
doing?
because you wrote it down.
Right, I was thinking about it. But this is how you create reality, guys, and this is what we're going to end on. Here are the verses. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do, do it. Want to change the world? There's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be.
Aww.
And that you'll never hear again, me singing on the podcast. But I can't help it,
That is a good song. Yeah.
So good.
right? And if you really like that, hit the thumbs up
Yeah, please do.
and subscribe
You have to now.
and share. And that is a wrap. Thank you for watching Out on a Limb podcast. Until next time.
See you guys.
Bye.